first impression of Snow? All talk.
You're nothing but talk.
Is that my hero?
Well, we are the heroes after all.
Real heroes don't need plans.
You're the worst of them all. I hate your kind. You think you're everyone's protector, everyone's hero. But who do you save, really? Do you even realize how useless you are? Do you realize what you do to the people you're supposed to protect?
What if someone dies? What then, Snow?
The Snow I remember was an optimist. Almost laughably so. He believed in everyone, and so everyone believed in him. It even made me want to believe. That's why in the end, I could accept Sarah wanting to marry him. That one'll be all right. He's too stubborn to die. And that's his best quality. He's too stubborn to die. I knew you'd be fine. You're too stubborn to die.
But are any of these things actually true? Let's find out. Hey everyone, Wandering Bard here, and today I'm going to do another Final Fantasy XIII character deep dive, this time into Snow Villiers. Snow is, well, he's quite something. He certainly makes an impression on everyone he meets, ranging from people who believe he's a hero to those who say he's just a useless waste of space. My good friend Taffy VA and I have a running joke about her not liking him. According to her, he looks like Owen Wilson. Not sure if that's supposed to be an insult or...
Yeah, right. With that hair.
Anyway, today we're going to be stripping back the layers of accolades and opinions from the rest of the cast and taking a look at the person underneath it all. If you're watching this video right now and you're not super familiar with the Final Fantasy XIII games, I would highly recommend you watch my other video first, where I break down Lightning's character in detail, since there are world building and plot points in that video that I won't be repeating here. Link is in the description. The Lightning video will also provide more context for the comparisons that I draw between Lightning and Snow, since those two have more in common than Lightning would like to admit.
Hey, listen to me, kid. I'm an orphan. I barely got to know my family. But someday, I'm gonna have my own.
Like Lightning, Snow is an orphan, and them being orphaned actually does have a huge fundamental impact on them as people. But there's a key difference between those situations. In Lightning's case, she was old enough to remember her parents when they died, and afterward felt pressure to be strong for her younger sister's sake. She constantly has her guard up, she's unwilling to want things for herself or get her hopes up because to her, that's a pathway to more pain, and this causes problems for her throughout her journey. Whereas Snow barely remembers his family. They died when he was much younger, so he doesn't feel the pain of having lost them. He also has no siblings that we know of, so he's basically never had any family at all. So, while Lightning shuns vulnerability and connection as weaknesses, Snow has always embraced them both. He yearns for a family, and for him family means his fiancée Sarah, aka Lightning's sister, it means Nora, the vigilante gang that he formed, and... well, it tries to include Lightning, but she hates him, so there's that. He also feels a sense of obligation to his neighbors, the people of Bodom, and that's how we're introduced to him during the game. When the Fal'Cie anima is found in Bodom and all the citizens are being purged, Snow and the Nora gang fight their way through to rescue the citizens after Lightning derails the purge train.
Migration? More like extermination.
Huge. You stay here.
So sorry. I didn't mean to.
These people need heroes. Here. You keep your cool, and they will too. You got it?
The other difference between Snow and Lightning that I want to highlight is that, in contrast to Lightning's guarded pessimism, Snow is an eternal optimist. He's also a charismatic leader who makes big promises, which leads some characters to judge him as being all talk. Personally, I'd say this isn't necessarily true, as he's always the first person to try and put his money where his mouth is. The problem is that he promises more than he can really deliver, because he does genuinely believe that he can deliver it. He's used to thinking he's invincible, he has strong faith in his found family, and he's convinced that as long as he keeps on fighting and does the right thing, that everything will work itself out, without really thinking how exactly that's going to happen. And it's interesting to see throughout his journey in Final Fantasy XIII how all of these beliefs are challenged, starting during the Purge.
Get him home. Please.
Hold on!
So that woman there was Nora Estheim, one of the many Bodum civilians who chose to fight alongside Snow when escaping the Purge. Her son, Hope, holds Snow personally responsible for her death, and he twists the narrative by saying that Snow tricked her and used her for his ends, which is very far from the truth. Snow never intended for any of the Purges to fight at all. They volunteered to join him. He only accepted volunteers, and even when Nora did volunteer, he asked if she was sure before he let her join in. And no, that wasn't because he didn't think a woman could fight. Remember, he knows Lightning, and LeBro is also part of the Nora squad. But he knew that she was a mother, and he didn't want to put her life at risk. He did everything he could, even during the fighting, to keep her where he could watch her and keep her out of harm's way. Ultimately, she dove out of cover to save Snow's life, and she paid the ultimate price for it. This is probably the first person to ever die under Snow's watch, and she also died saving his life. So this bothers him a lot, and he's also bothered because her last words to him were asking him to get her son, Hope, back home safely, a wish that he's not able to fulfill because he doesn't know who her son is. He does the best that he can by asking the gang to look after the kids from the Purge, but he doesn't let them in on what's bothering him. He puts up a cheery facade in front of everyone else, which is why Hope believes that he's not bothered at all by Nora dying. The truth is, it affects him very deeply, but he doesn't know how to handle it. He also doesn't know how to handle what happens almost immediately after when, well... Again, there's a difference between Lightning's and Snow's reactions. Lightning instantly resigns herself to Sarah being lost forever, since for her this is familiar and painful territory. She can't get her hopes up, she can't entertain any possibility that Sarah might not be gone, because to her, that just makes it hurt more. This is inevitable reality. Snow, meanwhile, holds on to whatever he can to prove her wrong. He cites the legend about l'Cie gaining eternal life when they crystallize, and clings to her last words about protecting Cocoon like a lifeline. This is why, after he himself becomes a l'Cie, and all evidence states that their focus is to destroy Cocoon, he refuses to accept the idea. Sarah's last words to them were asking them to protect Cocoon, so to him, if their focus is to destroy it, that means his faith in Sarah was misplaced, that she was also an enemy, and he can't accept the idea. So he just doesn't. He runs from what he can't face, even if he knows he can't escape it forever. He also stupidly refuses to abandon Sarah when they find her crystallized body stuck in Lake Brescia, even though logically there's no possible way he can save her before the Sanctum troops catch up with him. He stays behind to dig her out, remaining convinced that he can handle whatever Psycom throws at him, until that gets disproven too.
What's he doing? Watch yourself! Stay alert!
These are the Shiva sisters, Snow's Eidolon. As I mentioned during the Lightning video, Eidolons appear before l'Cie when they're broken in spirit or facing a deep internal conflict, either forcing them to stand and fight or else putting them out of their misery. It feels a bit weird to introduce one this early in the story, and it feels more to me like a means by which to introduce Eidolon mechanics than anything else. That said, it is somewhat understandable in that Snow has always believed himself to be invincible. And in this moment, when the Sanctum troops are overcoming him, he's had to face the notion that he might lose for the first time. And even though he does successfully defeat the Shiva sisters and tame them, the effort takes too much from him and he gets taken in by the Sanctum.
The twin sisters. I gotta hand it to you for taking them down. But don't gloat just yet. Might come a time you wish you'd let them end it. And made things easy.
The only good news is that the unit that takes him in, the cavalry, secretly opposes the fal'Cie, and they're enlisting Fang, a fellow pulse l'Cie, and Snow to find the others and bring down the Sanctum. Fang also has a very interesting story for Snow. She and her partner, Vanille, were both crystallized centuries ago and taken up to Cocoon along with the fal'Cie Anima, where they were both eventually released from Crystal. She is therefore living proof that Snow isn't wrong about Sarah, that she can reawaken from Crystal stasis. So, when he later catches up with Lightning, he's overjoyed to share the news with her. Unfortunately, this puts him back in contact with Hope, who was also branded a l'Cie and who still blames Snow for his mother's death, only now he's gotten a lot tougher after traveling with Lightning, and he's finally ready to confront Snow about it. Snow remains completely oblivious to who Hope is and to how much Hope hates him, and he keeps putting up that cheery facade which only makes things worse between them, until finally Hope's emotions spill over. I don't think I can do this scene justice in the narration, so I'm just gonna play it here. Here you go.
Snow? What do you plan to do? I need to know.
I told you. Save Sarah, protect Cocoon, and have myself a big, happy family. Still, it's a long road ahead. Or maybe not so long. Whatever happens, things will work themselves out. Even if you're l'Cie, you gotta keep fighting.
And what if that gets people around you involved?
What?
What happens when your actions end up ruining someone's life? What if someone dies? What then, Snow? How do you pay for what you've done?
I can't! Right? There is nothing that can make something like that right again. When someone's dead, when someone's gone, words are useless.
So that's it? People die and you just run away?
I know! It's all my fault. I don't know how to fix it. Where do you start? What do you say? All I can do is go forward. Keep fighting and surviving until I find the answers I need.
There are no answers! You're running from what you deserve!
Well, why don't you tell me what I deserve?
The same fate! Nora Estine. She was my mother. And she died because of you!
You're the one she meant!
There's a lot to unpack here. Most notable in Snow's case that I want to highlight is that when Hope is accusing him, he doesn't just flash back to Nora dying. He thinks about Sarah and him not being able to protect her, and he also thinks about his vigilante gang. We haven't gotten to see him spare them much thought with everything else going on, but we get a hint here that he thinks they're dead too. In spite of that cheery facade, he feels personally responsible for all of them, but he doesn't know how to handle the guilt. So he ran from it, until suddenly he couldn't anymore. What I really love is that when brought to task by Hope, he takes full responsibility for what happened, and he acknowledges that he was making excuses before to escape his guilt. He also honors Nora Esthime's last wish by saving Hope's life even after Hope tries to kill him, and he even offers Hope a second chance at revenge by returning Sarah's knife to him, which Hope thankfully doesn't take. From there, we see Snow patching things up not only with Hope, but with Lightning, and with Hope's father.
The blame is mine. I couldn't save her.
If it wasn't for Snow, I wouldn't be here right now.
Snow. Did Nora... Did she say anything to you?
Hope. She said to get him home.
And that's exactly what you've done.
The whole Palumpolum arc is really important for Snow, not just because he's learning to take responsibility, but also because he's building a foundation for himself after all the struggles from earlier in the game. He's still able to put his faith in people, and now he's got a good group of people to put his faith in. But it doesn't stop here. His faith in people even extends to his enemies.
Don't shoot! I'll show you what a Lassie looks like! Me! I'm a Lassie! Surprised? Expected some kind of monster? I'm flesh and blood, like you! An ordinary citizen of Cocoon! Don't you get it? This has been our home our whole lives! How could we even think about destroying it? We want to protect this place just as much as you!
He's on our side? I don't see what he's lying. What if he's telling you it's a trick?
Snow is putting his life on the line here, and he's taking it all on his enemy's understanding. The troops have been taught to see him and his friends not as people, but as targets to be shot. He's appealing to their humanity here, betting everything on the hope that they too could understand his plight and show mercy. This doesn't work out, at least not here, but thankfully the cavalry catches up again to save the day. From here, Snow, Lightning, Hope, and Fang mount their assault on the Sanctum flagship to rescue Vanille and Saz, who got themselves captured. They also confront Daisley, the Sanctum Primarch, only to learn that he is a Fal'Cie named Bartandalus in disguise. Bartandalus also confirms the truth about their party's collective focus, that their task is to become Ragnarok, a being of destruction, and lay waste to Cocoon. The group all struggles with this in different ways, but Snow takes it the hardest, for two reasons. For one thing, like I said earlier, Snow's convictions about his focus are inherently tied to his faith in Sarah, so the confirmation that he was wrong about his focus also puts his faith in Sarah in jeopardy. For two, he can't hold on anymore to his conviction that things will work themselves out as long as he keeps fighting. In order to save himself, he has to destroy Cocoon, and kill millions of people along with it. But if he does the right thing by not destroying Cocoon, he'll either die fighting or become a Sith for denying his focus. If he hadn't already summoned and tamed his Eidolon, I think it definitely would have appeared here, because this is definitely rock bottom for Snow. Instead, he gets a pep talk from, of all people, Lightning.
What about your plan to protect Cocoon? Either way, your faith in Sarah was strong. That strength got you this far.
It was all wrong.
Yeah. You tried so hard to convince us that you even fooled yourself. You've been a total idiot. But But still... it saved me. You trusted Sarah. Let that faith drive you. It even made me want to believe.
Sarah, talk to me, baby.
After this, we get the even stranger realization that Bartandois, a Cocoon fal'Cie, wants the party to complete their focus and destroy Cocoon, and that Raines, the leader of the cavalry, was a l'Cie tasked with assisting them. I'm not going to get into why all of this happens, that's a topic for another video, but what's important is that Raines, unable to live with his focus, defies his fate and attacks the party, hoping to prevent Cocoon's destruction. In so doing, he inspires Snow to challenge his own fate.
Ironic, isn't it? The only thing I wanted was a moment of triumph. How it ends isn't important. Just do what you know is right. Trust yourselves.
What? Did he complete his focus?
I don't think so. All Raines did was try to save Cocoon in his own way. His own way. Hey!
Where are you?
Snow!
Bring it on.
My mind is made up. Maybe I will end up as XIII. But until that happens, I'm gonna make Sarah proud. I couldn't bring myself to admit that this tear meant goodbye. And that's why I kept searching for her. But I didn't need to. Sarah was here the whole time. Right here, watching over me. Now I get it. What this tear's been telling me is to not let our focus win. It's not the fal'Cie we should listen to. It's Sarah and Raines. Do you know why? Because our focus doesn't matter. What matters to me is that we protect Cocoon. Whatever it takes.
This single line of dialogue shows how much Snow has grown as a character. At first it seems like he's still the same. He's still obsessed with saving Sarah and protecting Cocoon. The difference is that he's no longer just blinding himself with the conviction that things will just work themselves out. He is fully acknowledging here that if he fights his focus, he will either die or turn XIII, but he's going to fight anyway, because to him, standing by his ideals and doing what's right is more important to him than his own life. He's able to face harsh reality now and stay true to who he is, and that not only shows tremendous personal growth, but also makes the fact that we do get a happy ending feel more earned. The whole party, except Fang, chooses to lay down their lives to do whatever they can to protect people. And when they do that, not expecting a happy ending for themselves, that's when they truly become heroes.
Sarah? Am I dreaming again? I'm dreaming or not. Gotta get out of here!
So, like most of the game's cast, Snow is transitioned into a side role during the game's sequels. And there's two things about how he's handled in the sequels that I really want to highlight. Firstly, the writers understood how his devotion to family has now expanded beyond Sarah. In Final Fantasy XIII, his thoughts dwelled so much on Sarah that it made him feel one-dimensional at times. But she was, and still is, his true love, so it makes sense. But now his found family properly includes Lightning, and all his companions that he fought alongside as a l'Cie. So I love how, In Final Fantasy XIII-2, where Sarah herself is the protagonist, his involvement in the story has almost nothing to do with her. He's in the future fighting a giant flan because lightning told him to, and because said flan threatens the crystal pillar where Vanille and Fang lie sleeping. He cares for all of his friends, and I love that the writers recognized and showcased that. Even in the corrected timeline where the flan never existed, Snow is still traveling through time trying to reach the Colosseum in Valhalla, hoping to get strong enough to rescue Vanille and Fang, as confirmed by them in a fragment transcript. The other thing with Snow is that, at first, he seems exactly the same. When we find him in Sunlit fighting said giant flan, he's still cocky, still doing his own thing, and he charges headfirst against the monster seemingly to impress Sarah. After the fight, he reveals the truth, that he learned that this monster knocks Cocoon down, killing Vanille, Fang, and countless others in doing so, and that lightning charged him with protecting Cocoon. This isn't Snow being brash or reckless. Well, at least not entirely. He's fighting because he knows that this is a battle he can't run away from, and as we've seen, he's done running away from hard fights. He's willing to lay down his life to protect what's important. But there's a problematic part of this too, as he nearly gets himself killed multiple times doing this, and he definitely would have died if Sarah and Noel hadn't intervened. Even when he knows he can't win, in that Sarah and Noel are working to resolve the paradox that created this monster, he still charges right back into battle. The problem here is that while Snow is willing to face any danger to protect what's important, what he's not willing to do is sit back and let someone else do the heavy lifting. He hates feeling powerless, and we don't get much resolution on that front in this game, but it defines his characterization in Lightning Returns.
I swear I'll make you happy. Those were my own words. But I think I was fooling. I couldn't do a damn thing. You died centuries ago, and it still feels like yesterday. Not a day goes by when I don't think of you, and how I could save you. But I failed you. Like a fool, I'm just spinning my wheels while the world dies. Now everything's ending, and no one's gonna survive.
This is an emergency broadcast from the Public Safety Office, Yusnan branch of the Order of Salvation. Volatile chaos infusions have been detected inside the Yusnan Palace. All entrances have been sealed by order.
Sarah, I need to know. When I die, will I get to see you again? Not that I have any right to. Well, I guess we all come to this world alone, and that's the way we gotta leave it. What are you waiting for, Lightning? You don't have much time left before the world ends. This is your last chance for payback to the man who couldn't keep your sister safe.
When we catch up to Snow in Lightning Returns, he's basically a shell of his former self. Sarah has died, the world has been all but swallowed by chaos, and time as we know it has stopped. Meaning that Snow has been kept alive for 500 years by the chaos, and he's had to live every day knowing that Sarah is gone. One thing I've picked up on from watching cinema therapy videos, notably the one about Bruce Wayne's characterization in the Dark Knight trilogy, is that Snow very likely has what's called persistent complex bereavement disorder, or complicated grief, where the difference between complicated grief and something like PTSD is that rather than avoiding reminders of past pain or triggers of trauma, someone with complicated grief wallows in reminders. They blame themselves for the loss, they don't think about the life that they could have or the connections they could have. It's all just emptiness to them. And that's exactly where Snow is right now. In fairness to Snow, it's kind of hard to think about happy possibilities for the future in a world where there is no future anyway. And also, again, it's not just about Sarah. During the Luxarian main quest when we fight Noel, he reveals that Snow didn't blame Noel for Sarah's death, and that Snow, Noel, and Hope made a pact together to try and fight the spread of chaos. Hope also explains that Snow became the patron of Yusnan because he started trying to help people wherever he could, and they made him the ruler by popular acclaim. Rulership of Yusnaan was particularly important because the city housed Pandemonium, the last of the fal'Cie, who supplies food to the major cities of the world. Whoever controls the city controls the food supply, so the people put Snow in charge because they trusted him to fairly distribute resources. Even after losing everything, Snow held on to his spirit at first, and his determination and selflessness shone through and everyone could see. But all his efforts couldn't do a thing to stop the chaos from spreading, and he had to watch the world die slowly around him as decades stretched into centuries. And that's where the hopelessness set in, where the loss of Sarah began to consume him. And as the darkness in his heart fed the chaos in Yusnaan, he shut himself away from almost everything. Partly to stop the chaos from spreading and destroying the city, and partly because he barely cares anymore. Snow has basically had to live with being powerless for 500 years, and it destroys him. This is the state we find him in at the beginning of Lightning Returns.
It's over.
You're a regular angel of death, Light. So now what? This the bit where you save my soul?
I could help you, if that's what you want.
Damn it! What kind of answer is that?
After all those years feeling powerless, Snow has given up and he wants nothing more than to die. He has no hope left anymore, no reason to keep fighting. Except he also can't afford to give up because the entire city of Yusnaan is still depending on him. In spite of everything, Snow can't convince himself not to care. He still feels a sense of obligation to the people around him, and even when he's depressed out of his mind, he still tries to make sure they can enjoy their last days. And only when he has assurances that Lightning has indeed returned does he feel that he can lay down his burden and die without regrets. It's also implied by his dialogue that he wants Lightning specifically to be the one who kills him. This is partly because as a Sith he'd be almost unstoppable to anyone besides Lightning, but he also seems to want Lightning to have a chance to punish him, believing he deserves it after he failed to keep Sarah from dying. Instead, Lightning decides to save him.
Snow, the only thing I can do is do what you asked of me. But please, don't let your feelings for Sarah disappear into the chaos. She never stopped believing in you. No matter how far away your journey took you, or how long you stayed apart, she thought she would be with you again. I know she still believes it now. Her soul is dreaming of being with you again right now, you stupid fool. If you're not here anymore, then what is my sister supposed to come home to? Snow, I'm begging you. You have to live. I need you, Snow, to bring Sarah back.
If you think about it, we've come full circle here. In Final Fantasy XIII, Snow was the one who was trying to reassure Lightning that Sarah wasn't lost forever, and now, when Snow has lost all hope, Lightning is here to give it back to him. The world is still dying, she can't stop that or undo the last 500 years, but she's able to give him hope in the new world, and that helps him keep fighting. Snow's story is one of someone who's been beaten down emotionally over and over again, and his faith in himself and in the future is pushed to the breaking point. But he's still able to put faith in the people he loves, and ultimately, they end up being his deliverance. With their help, he can overcome anything, and he gets to be with all of them in the new world, including Sarah. I wish we could have seen them get married, or see what life was like for him in a new world with no more battles to fight, but I'm glad we got to see his growth and some of his healing. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoy doing these analyses, so it means the world to me when you interact with it. The Lightning video got such a positive response and it really warms my heart, and it's definitely encouraging me to keep doing these. Please remember to leave a like if you enjoyed this video as well, and a comment, and maybe sub to the channel if you want to see more of these as they come out, since there's plenty more where this came from. Until then, hope you have a good one. I'll see ya.